Coming up on News 2, domestic violence awareness events kick off with a conference featuring many national speakers. More on the month-long observance. Plus an update on the Dolphinarium Debate. What's the next step? Also, a look at the Department of Health's new fully equipped mobile clinics and highlights from the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. Topic on newscast tonight: October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the VI's Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Council hosted a workshop Thursday. Professionals in the field and faith-based communities attended the Healthy Relationships Seminar to help prevent abusive relationships locally. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
People who work with abused victims daily focused on what makes a healthy relationship during a conference Thursday.
The Healthy Relationships Conference, it's a prevention approach to domestic violence. With the Virgin Islands Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Council, we have the pleasure of working on the prevention side of things. So where most of our partners see victims after, we're trying to see how we can help the community to be informed on positive characteristics in a relationship.
Victim advocates, church leaders, law enforcement, and people from other agencies were among the participants. The workshop at times broke into smaller groups to talk about different types of abuse. Experts say the exercises are a good way to train law enforcement and other people who deal with abusers and victims of domestic violence.
Really understanding what abusers do, understanding their tactics, understanding the types of excuses they use, is really useful for better understanding and empathizing with victims.
Presenters spoke about changing attitudes, and one focus was the role healthy families play on the community.
There's a Ghanaian proverb that says the destruction of a civilization begins in the homes of its people. And nothing is more devastating than domestic violence, because what you're talking about is two people in that household, a male and a female, having problems. And not only does that problem affect him and her, but it also affects the children.
Organizers say churches and community groups can help the effort to prevent domestic violence.
We have a lot of faith-based community leaders here as well. They're going to talk about the faith-based perspective, how certain Bible verses may impact the way we treat each other in marriages, what the expectation is.
Their hope is that domestic violence will one day be a thing of the past. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Now, there are a number of activities planned this month in both districts for the recognition of domestic violence awareness. Contact the DVSAC office at 719-014-0144 for more information. The Senate Committee on Agriculture and Economic Development, chaired by Senator Jeanette Millen-Young, met on Thursday at the Fritz Loett's conference room on St. Croix. Among the topics of discussion were lease agreements. One particular lease agreement approved by the committee with 4 yeas was the agreement between the VI government and Percy's Bus Stop, which is only 10 years away from eligibility to become a historic landmark.
And the other men and women in this community who have made personal sacrifices to keep their businesses open. So you are a landmark in itself. I've been there 40 years, 10 years you'll be historic. And after the testimony and continuing a review, I fully understand why we should grant you a lease for 20 years.
In other news, it seems Senator Hansen isn't off the hook yet. The district court sent the motion to remove Hansen from the ballot onward to the Superior Court. District Court Judge Wilma Lewis stated in her order that there were federal issues of great significance that are critical to resolving the issue of Hansen's eligibility. They are now awaiting Superior Court Judge Douglas Brady to set a date to hear the emergency motion for the enforcement and imposition of sanctions. News 2 will keep you updated. Well, News 2 continues to follow developments in Coral World's proposed dolphin facility. We've heard the arguments from various sides on issues such as animal captivity. Now we take a closer look at the environmental issues, plus what is expected out of the public hearing by the Army Corps. News 2's April Knight has more.
Lee Keller has been curator at Coral World for 6 years. He, along with many others, are waiting to see the results of the latest hurdle in their bid for a permit for a dolphin habitat. Last week, the Army Corps of Engineers held another public hearing on the hotly debated topic. The Army Corps is supposed to produce a biological assessment, but Keller fears this will be another long wait. The Army Corps is looking closely at how the habitat might affect the environment. Opponents of the dolphin facility say the construction alone could destroy endangered species of coral within the project footprint.
The environmental concerns stem from the proposed location of this habitat and the potential impact on endangered and threatened species, including corals.
But according to Keller, they're taking precautions. He says there is no endangered coral within the project perimeter, and only a small piece of coral outside the project footprint, but within their buffer zone.
By building this facility, that particular coral will actually receive more protections than it does right now.
There are also concerns on the waste that would be produced by the concentration of dolphins.
These animals produce waste. That waste will be concentrated because they're in a captive space.
We've actually gone through the scientific studies to find out exactly how much waste a dolphin produces on a day-to-day basis using peer-reviewed science. What are the currents in the bay? What actually happens here in Water Bay? From that, we've discovered that the impact to Water Bay is negligible, and we can mathematically assess that and prove that based on the information that we have.
When the Army Corps does complete its assessment, Keller will still have to wait, this time for the Marine Fisheries Service's turn to evaluate the dolphin project. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, no time frame yet from the Army Corps on when the assessment will be finished. Be sure to count on News 2. We will keep you updated. Maui Hospital has a new financial chief. During the hospital's board meeting Monday, there were a number of motions approved and announcements. One of those was about the addition of Sammy King Jr., who was appointed to the post of Chief Financial Officer. King provided a summary of the hospital's financial picture as part of his introduction. He said his goal is to make Wanaflui one of the most stable institutions financially. The board approved a contract for King for $150,000. The Department of Health is taking healthcare to the streets. They rolled out their new mobile medical clinics in both districts on Thursday. Officials unveiled the two 40-foot trucks during a ribbon-cutting ceremony on both St. Thomas and St. Croix. Inside each mobile clinic, there are 2 exam rooms, a lab, restroom, and intake area. Officials say the addition will help expand their outreach to the community.
Today is a fun day, of course, in St. Thomas. We have screenings, we're giving out the flu shot, and we're making a health fair of the day on both islands. So we're making sure that we can expose the community to our newest arsenal in our toolkit to make sure that we fight for better health care. And that is our mobile medical clinics. And they're fully outfitted to do what we do in-house, outside, and make sure that we can mobilize and make sure that we increase the access to health care in our community.
Turn our attention overseas. The number of people in Texas potentially exposed to Ebola keeps growing. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is monitoring as many as 18 people who had contact with Ebola patient Thomas Eric Duncan in recent weeks. Dallas health officials say those people have had contact with about 80 others. 5 children are among those who had direct contact with the patient. Duncan is from Liberia. Meanwhile, another patient who recently visited West Africa is being kept in isolation at a Honolulu hospital after being tested for Ebola. It could be days before doctors know for sure if he has the virus. Keeping our eye on the economy, the number of people who filed for unemployment benefits last week is the lowest in 8 years, and that's according to the Labor Department. We'll get a more complete picture of the job market tomorrow when the government releases its monthly report. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow down 3, NASDAQ and S&P up. Coming up on News 2, we put our hands together to applaud those who lend a hand in time of need. The American Red Cross is making a difference in the USVI. Plus, skip the fuss and take the bus. That's an invitation for you to take advantage of the free ride offer on Friday. Details. The St. John Coastal Zone Management Committee, chaired by Andrew Penn Jr., approved the permits for the building of the Coral Bay Marina on St. John. The committee is supposed to consist of 5 members, but only 3 participated in the voting that occurred Wednesday on St. John. Penn and committee vice chairman Edmund Roberts gave the 2 votes that led to the permit's approval. The 3rd member, Breon Morissette, and also an attorney for the marina developer, abstained. News2 will keep you updated on developments on the Coral Bay Marina. The Virgin Islands Department of Public Works is introducing its new buses to residents during public events on Friday, October 3rd, in conjunction with the VI Energy Office. Governor John Peter Young has declared the day Ride the Bus Day in an effort to promote mass transit in the territory. Residents will have the opportunity to ride the new buses free of charge on this day. The governor will be there, as well as many other dignitaries. The St. Thomas event will take place at the Tutu Park Mall at 8 a.m. The St. Croix event will follow later that day at the Villa Lorraine Bus Terminal, also at 2 p.m. Every first Friday of the month, local businesses and entrepreneurs gather in a special venue to network, interact, but most importantly, benefit local organizations and institutions. This month's First Friday Business Expo will be held at Yacht Haven on Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, my name is Ike from Ike Events Group, along with 1855 VI Service. We're bringing back First Friday. It's going to be this Friday at Yacht Haven Grand.
It's a very good way to support the community. See a lot of people, small businesses that are represented at First Fridays. It's a way to make contact with these new and ongoing businesses. Just very beneficial for the community.
I'm here because I'm excited that we have introduced the church into First Friday. So we are excited to be a part of First Friday.
Come out tomorrow night, Friday. We're going to have a raffle going. Our first prize is a Caribbean cruise for 2, and we have much more prizes raffling that evening.
Hey, what's up, man? It's the kid Lil Drip, and I'm a featured artist on the First Friday event, along with On Target. You should come out and check us out on the event, man. It's going to be live.
So be sure to check that out. And by the way, Mike Shelby is the honoree. Well, now that September is over, National Preparedness Recognition has come to an end. However, as we all know, disasters can strike at any time, so you should always have an emergency plan in place year-round. But if not, the volunteers of the American Red Cross remind you that they stand ready to lend a hand.
We are strictly volunteer-based, meaning we ask for community support and involvement in the efforts that we make to help families throughout.
Monife volunteers her time with the American Red Cross.
We have caseworkers. They provide food, shelter, clothing, toiletries, cleaning supplies, any kind of cleanup effort after, say, a fire, and after a natural disaster.
The over 300 volunteers territory-wide can tell you there's no other rewarding experience. Disasters can strike at any time, and the American Red Cross USVI chapter, they're encouraging everyone to create a disaster plan for their household that can help keep people safe in an emergency. But if not, that is where their hands come in.
The fact that I'm helping to promote the American Red Cross is fulfilling for me because I am using my talents in that regard. You may not think that you don't have anything to offer, but in fact you do. And through the American Red Cross, you can learn to discover what those talents are and how you can use them.
Volunteers of the USVI's chapter have been participating in the Preparing Together program in September. Also, recently, a drive was held in St. John called the Fill-A-Boot.
And this year, we had over 60 volunteers occupy major intersections throughout the territory. So if you saw us out on that day in May and June, then you knew that it was for Fill-A-Boot. This year, we actually raised over $14,000 with that effort. We also help military families. Every 91 cents of every dollar goes to the organization in terms of helping an immediate need. So it's not only about the monetary support, it's about the physical support as well.
Interested now in becoming a volunteer like Monife? Call the American Red Cross USVI chapter at 340-774-0375 St. Thomas or 340-778-5104 St. Croix.
What I'm doing right now is really good.
Well, be sure to stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.